I'm sitting here on my front porch, same place I've been sitting for nearly 70 years, and I've got something important to tell you. My name is Eleanor, and I'm 96 years old. I've watched the world change in ways I never imagined possible. I've seen cars go from hand-cranked engines to self-driving computers. I've seen the internet appear like magic from thin air. But you know what breaks my heart the most? I've watched something beautiful and sacred disappear right before my eyes, and most people don't even realize it's gone. It's about seeds, real seeds, the kind that taught my grandmother how to feed a family of 12 on half an acre of land, the kind that made my mother's hands strong and my childhood meals taste like actual food, the kind that taught me that life itself is a cycle of giving, receiving, and passing forward. And I'm here today because I promised myself that before I leave this earth, I would tell the truth about what happened to them. You see, when I was your age, gardening wasn't a hobby or a trendy Instagram thing. It was survival. It was medicine. It was legacy. And seeds were sacred because they represented everything good about life. A seed was a promise. Plant it, care for it, and it would give you food, health, beauty, and most importantly, it would give you the power to grow your own future. You didn't need permission. You didn't need to buy something new every single year. You just needed to save seeds from your best plants. And year after year they got better, stronger, more adapted to your soil, your climate, your family's needs. But somewhere along the way something changed, and I need to tell you what it was. The biggest lie that seed companies tell you is this: that you need them, that their new hybrid seeds, their patented varieties, their special treatments are the only way you can grow healthy food. They won't say it directly. They're too clever for that. Instead, they say things like higher yield and disease resistant and engineered for maximum nutrition. And some of that is technically true. But it's like looking at a painting and only seeing one color while ignoring the entire masterpiece. Here's what they don't tell you. Those hybrid seeds, the ones they sell you every year, every single year, they don't breed true. You know what that means? It means if you save the seeds from your tomato plant this year and plant them next year, they won't be the same. They'll be weaker, different. You'll be forced to come back and buy more. That's not an accident. That's by design. It's called Terminator technology, and it was developed specifically to make sure that farmers, and eventually home gardeners like you, would have to keep buying new seeds forever. It's brilliant business strategy. It's terrible for you. I learned about this the hard way, and I want to save you the heartache I felt when I discovered the truth. I was about 60 years old when a neighbor gave me some heritage tomato seeds. Heirloom varieties, they called them. My great-grandmother had grown these same tomatoes. I planted them that year with the kind of hope you feel when you're holding something precious. And they grew like nothing I'd ever seen before. Not because they were perfect, because they weren't. They had irregular shapes. Some had cracks. Some were smaller than the supermarket tomatoes I'd reluctantly bought for so many years. But when I bit into them, I cried. I actually wept, because they tasted like my childhood. They tasted like summer mornings at my grandmother's house. They tasted like love. And here's the magic part. The next year I saved the seeds from my best tomatoes. I dried them carefully, stored them in paper envelopes in a cool, dark place. And when spring came, I planted them again. And they grew. They grew stronger. Some adapted to areas of my garden that had been difficult before. They seemed to know my land, and the year after that they were even better, more resilient, better adapted to my specific climate and soil. This is what humans have been doing for thousands of years. We've been in partnership with plants, making them more suited to our needs, more beautiful, more abundant. Each generation of gardener was also a breeder of plants. We were co-creators. The seed companies want you to forget this. They want you to believe that you need science and commerce to grow food. But I'm going to tell you something that I've learned in 96 years of living. The science was always there. It was inside the plants themselves. They were designed by thousands of years of evolution and human care to reproduce, to improve, to give back. All we did was pay attention and participate. Let me tell you about my mother, because she understood something that I didn't fully appreciate until much later in life. My mother grew up during hard times, the Great Depression, times when money didn't just run short, it disappeared entirely. And my mother's mother, my grandmother, had an enormous garden. I mean enormous, multiple acres. And she didn't grow just enough for her family. She grew enough to preserve for winter, to share with neighbors, to barter for things they needed. And the secret to this abundance wasn't complicated machinery or expensive inputs. It was seeds, saved seeds, heirloom varieties that had been passed down through the family. Some of them came from my great-great-grandmother's garden in the old country. They came wrapped in cloth and tucked into migration memories, brought across oceans and continents, because someone knew that these seeds contained life, identity, and security. My mother understood that saving seeds was an act of defiance against scarcity. It was an act of faith. Every time she saved seeds from her best plants, she was saying, I believe in tomorrow. I believe that we will be here next year, and the year after that, and we will eat well. That belief sustained us through depression, through war, through change. And it wasn't just romantic nostalgia, it was practical wisdom. You want to know the old way to garden? It's this. You observe your land. You notice what grows well naturally. You start small, maybe with one garden bed, and you plant varieties that are suited to your climate. You save seeds from the strongest, healthiest, most abundant plants. You learn to recognize diseases and pests, and you develop solutions that don't require going to a store. You make compost from your kitchen scraps and garden waste, creating rich soil year after year. You build relationships with other gardeners and you swap seeds with them, creating a living library of varieties adapted to your region. You understand that this isn't just gardening, it's building resilience, it's reclaiming your independence. It's preserving knowledge that corporations want to keep locked away behind patent laws. And I want to tell you something else. It's not harder than what you're probably imagining. For the last 30 years, I've grown most of my own vegetables, and I'm not a genius. I'm not special. I'm just an old woman who decided that I wanted to know where my food came from. My hands aren't strong anymore. I have arthritis. I can only work in the garden for a few hours before I need to rest. But I still grow enough food to eat fresh vegetables from my garden for 8 months of the year. And I eat better now, in my 90s, than I did in my 30s when I was buying everything from supermarkets. The first thing you need to understand is that heritage and heirloom seeds are not extinct. They're not locked away in government vaults. They're being grown right now by ordinary people in your region. There are seed savers, gardeners, and farming organizations dedicated to preserving these varieties. Many of them will send you seeds for less than what the big seed companies charge. And once you plant them once, you're no longer dependent on these companies. You become part of a chain of people stretching back thousands of years and forward into your children's future. The second thing is this: you don't need perfect soil to start. You don't need expensive equipment. You don't need to know everything before you begin. I started my first serious garden when I was already 75 years old. I started with a small raised bed made from old fence boards. I used soil from the bottom of my compost pile mixed with purchased compost. I planted 5 varieties of vegetables that I knew my family liked to eat. And when harvest came, 4 of the 5 did well. I learned from the one that didn't. But here's what really matters. That first year, I saved seeds from my best tomatoes, my best beans, my best peppers. I dried them, I labeled them, I stored them. And the next year, I planted them again. And my success rate improved because now I had seeds that had already adapted to my specific garden, my climate, my soil. This is the beauty of heritage gardening that seed companies hope you never discover. Let me tell you what happens when you start saving your own seeds. You stop being a customer. You become sovereign. You become someone who doesn't need to go to a store to grow food. Your children learn that food doesn't come from a package. Your grandchildren understand that they have power, that they can take a tiny seed and transform it into abundance. That power changes something inside a person. I have a granddaughter who is now 60 years old, and when she was 7, she planted her first seed in my garden. It was a pumpkin seed. I showed her how to save it from the year before, and she's been gardening for over 50 years now. Last month, she sent me a photograph of her own garden, and she told me that her entire neighborhood knows her as the woman with the beautiful vegetables and the freely shared seeds. She's part of that chain, and she'll pass it to her children. That's legacy. That's something that matters. Now I want to talk about something practical. How do you actually save seeds? For most vegetables, it's simpler than you think. With tomatoes, peppers, and beans, you let the fruit fully ripen on the plant. Then you harvest them, let them dry for a few weeks, and extract the seeds. For beans, you can just let the pods dry on the plant, then shell them out. The seeds are already dry and ready to store. For tomatoes, you cut them open, squeeze the seeds into a container of water, and let them ferment for a few days. This removes a gel coating that can prevent germination. Then you rinse them, spread them on a plate to dry completely, and store them in a cool, dark place. Leafy greens are a bit more patient. You let them go to seed, meaning you don't harvest them when they're young. You let them bolt, send up a flower stem, and produce seed pods. When the pods dry and turn brown, you harvest them, shell them out, and save the seeds. The key is this: store your seeds in a cool, dark, dry place. A glass jar in a cabinet works. Some people keep them in the refrigerator. Keep them away from humidity and light, and that's it. Many seeds will stay viable for years. I have pepper seeds that I've been saving and replanting for 23 years. This is what the seed companies don't want you to know. Once you do this once, you understand. You see the simplicity. You see the independence it brings. You become dangerous to their business model. But I want to tell you something else. Something that's taken me 96 years to fully understand. This isn't just about self-sufficiency. It's not just about saving money, though it does. It's not just about better tasting food, though it absolutely is. It's about something deeper. It's about remembering that you are part of nature, that you have the capacity to create, to nurture, to generate abundance. Most of us have been convinced that we're helpless, that we need experts to tell us how to live, and that belief is worth billions of dollars to people who profit from our helplessness. My mother's mother lived through times when none of this convenience existed, and yet, when I listen to recordings of her voice, she sounds peaceful, happy, strong. She didn't feel helpless. She felt capable. And I think that's something our modern world has stolen from us without our even realizing it. Every single day you're alive, you're making choices. You're deciding what to believe in. You're deciding whether to be a consumer or a creator. You're deciding what knowledge you pass to the people you love. And those choices matter more than you know. I'm telling you this now at 96 because time is the only thing we never get back. And I've got less of it left than I've got behind me. I've spent 70 years growing food with my own hands, 70 years watching seeds grow, 70 years understanding the cycles of life. And the biggest truth I've learned is this: we're not as separated from nature as we've been taught to believe. We're not helpless. We're not dependent on corporations if we choose not to be. And the power to change everything is actually in a tiny seed, waiting in a drawer in your kitchen. The old way to garden is the new way to heal. It's the new way to find peace. It's the new way to leave something behind for your children that matters. Not money, not possessions, but knowledge, resilience, the understanding that they can take care of themselves, that they can create beauty and abundance, that they're part of something much larger than themselves. So here's what I want you to do. Don't do everything I'm telling you right now. Don't feel overwhelmed. Just do one thing. This spring, find one heirloom variety that you love. Maybe it's a tomato. Maybe it's a bean. Maybe it's a flower that's been grown for centuries. Plant it. Care for it. And when harvest time comes, save the seeds. Just save them. Put them in an envelope. Write the name on it. Store it in a cool place. And next year, plant those seeds again. See what happens. See how it feels to know that you're part of a chain that stretches back through generations. See how it feels to hold in your hand something that your great-grandmother might have held. See how it feels to create something from nothing but a seed in your own care. And maybe, just maybe, you'll understand why I've spent so much of my life doing this. Why it matters so much to me that you know the truth. Because in teaching you how to grow, I'm teaching you how to be free. Free from the messages that you're helpless. Free from the belief that you need to buy your way to security. Free to create and nurture and pass forward. This is the wisdom I'm leaving behind. Not in a will, not in money, not in a house or possessions, but in these words, in this truth, in the hope that somewhere someone will plant a seed and understand that they're holding the future in their hands. I hope you'll be that person. I hope you'll share this knowledge with people you love. I hope you'll save seeds and grow gardens and remember that for most of human history, this is what we did. We grew, we created, we thrived, and we can do it again. Thank you for listening to this old woman's truth. If this message reached your heart the way I hope it did, please subscribe to this channel. We're trying to keep the old wisdom alive, the knowledge that corporations want us to forget. Your subscription means that people will keep hearing this message, that gardens will keep growing, that knowledge will keep passing forward. My time here is becoming shorter, but through you, through what you share and what you grow and what you teach, The wisdom of the old ways will keep living. That's all I'm asking. That's everything I'm asking. Plant something. Save the seed. Pass it forward. That's all we really need to do to change the world.